You are looking extra good today. Almost as good as the fantasy football team that we are about to draft here. We are actually going to be hopping into a puppy draft. I was going to start us off with the Best Ball Mania, but we did 3 Best Ball Manias yesterday. I know we had a message in the chat saying that we wanted a puppy or schnauzer, so let's get in a lower buy-in. Let's warm up here, and then later in this live stream, of course, y'all know we're going to be getting in a couple drafts. We can maybe spice things up, and we can maybe get in a higher stakes one, but we'll start it off with like a mock draft, right? That's how typically I'm treating these $3, $5 Best Ball Mania, underdog drafts. It's a mock. I'm obviously going to be doing a bunch of high stakes drafts this year. So if I can get in the practice, if I can try out a bunch of different strategies here in the $3, $5 drafts, I mean, hell, I can kind of waste like 10 of these. If it makes me 1% better in the $500 drafts we're going to be doing closer to the start of the season, it's probably worth the $5 being spent. Also, I can waste my $5 and you can learn lessons watching along. But thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for coming out. And yes, it is a beautiful day to draft the big Q. Kadarius Toney, this is the message I was referring to, asking for some puppies and schnauzers. Hopefully you got in this draft, and Kadarius Toney did get in this draft, in here with us at pick 12. Happy to see you, my guy. And yes, we're streaming again. I was rooting for the Lakers this year. Obviously, we are in LA at the moment, and I was hoping we were going to get to see some playoff games, but sadly, we did not get to see anything because the Lakers got bounced immediately. Ooh, I wonder if I can find the Lakers videos. So let me pull this up. For me, I'm going to prefer to go Lamb over Jahmyr Gibbs. I think it's very easy to find running back values later in underdog drafts in a way that it's maybe a little bit tougher to go wide receiver. But let me find y'all some of these videos I took at the Lakers game because, God, okay, here we go. So, backstory. And I know we're getting off the rails before round 1 even ends. We'll talk about fantasy football in just 1 second. But the Lakers got brought up, so I got to bring this up. So, while we were here, we went to one Lakers game. And it was the game that LeBron was supposed to score his 50,000th career point. If you asked me, Mason, LeBron's going to score his 50,000th career point, plus they just traded for Luka, plus Kawhi's in this game, plus James Harden's in this game, what would a ticket cost in the 6th row? $1,000, $2,000? I don't know. It's a Lakers game. I've never been to a Lakers game. We got these tickets. Like, this is where we were sitting. It was incredible. Like, this was like pretty much row 6. Yeah, that's a botched Lucas shot, but whatever. Tickets were like expensive, don't get me wrong, but for the game LeBron was supposed to score his 50,000th career point, he fell 1 short. Kind of sucks, but it is what it is. They were much cheaper than I expected. They're like maybe, I don't know, off the top of my head, like $300 a ticket after fees, which I was very happy with, to be honest. But am I going to be happy with what we're going to get in round 2 here? Bowers goes. We have a lot of flexibility because we took Lamb in round 1. Let's see what Dustin does, who's right next to us. He started off with Jahmyr Gibbs. Now, what I'm obviously hoping for is I'm obviously hoping that we get Achane making it to us at 20. Achane goes. I'm not a big Taylor guy here. I'm okay with Bucky, but I think Chase Brown's almost about the same thing. I'm going to go ahead and take Bucky Irving at 20. Just because, like, do I really want to be drafting T. Higgins here? Probably not. So it is what it is. I don't feel super great about it. I would have been ecstatic to start Lamb and Achane, but what do you want from me? Okay, so let's move this. Turtle's birthday's tomorrow. Happy birthday, Turtle. I heard y'all live for quite some time. But let's see. Derek says, yo, I'm brand new here. You're turning me into one of those fantasy psychos. Run while you still have a chance, my friend. Run while you still have a chance. Dylan says, sad to see you're a Lakers fan. Thankfully, I'm a Warriors fan. I am not actually a Lakers fan. I'm actually a Spurs fan. So once we're back in Texas, we'll be rocking San Antonio once again. But Tyreek goes off at 26. So here I would like a wide receiver in round 3. The thing is, I think Chase Brown's the best player on the board. Like in my regular redraft league, I'm for sure taking Chase Brown over Wilson, Terry, and JSN. But because we go Bucky in round 2, I'm going to be a little boring here. We'll make sure we don't fall behind at wide receiver. We'll give ourselves the flexibility of going running back in the next few rounds. So we will take Garrett Wilson. But Jerry asking how these drafts work. So these are Underdog Fantasy drafts. They're what's called best ball drafts. So that means that there's going to be no time commitment at all during the season. That's how I draft hundreds of these teams every single year. That's how we won a bunch of money on Underdog back in the day. Can't say that exact amount and how long ago at this point because it's just embarrassing. We've said it every day for years. But anyway, yeah, so you're not submitting your starting lineup every single week, right? So I take CeeDee Lamb here in round 1 and say in round 18, I end up taking Jalen Tolbert. And then randomly Jalen Tolbert in week 7 scores 2 receiving touchdowns. Lamb has none. Tolbert will actually automatically slide into my starting lineup and CeeDee Lamb will slide out. So no time commitment at all in terms of submitting your starting lineups. Second thing is there's no waiver wire. There are no ad drops. So you're going to be drafting extremely deep players. Like I may draft Taj Brooks with this team, you know, and we'll be going up against these 11 other owners through the course of the regular season. I'm going to take Devonta Smith and set ourselves up with the ability to go Jalen Hurts in round 5. But we're going to be going up against these 11 other owners through the course of the regular season. The 2 highest scoring teams through the course of the entire year will advance to a fantasy football playoff tournament, which will be hosted in weeks 15, 16, and 17. And then based off how you advance in weeks 15, 16, 17, there are massive prizes up at the top. This is a $5 buy-in, $100,000 for first, $75,000 for second, $50,000 for third. We've actually had a member of the flock win the puppy tournament before, which is really cool. But I think first place back then was $75,000. But yeah, in my opinion, one of the best ways to play, at least when we're looking at May. Obviously, again, this isn't going to replace your main fantasy football league, just some extra fun on the side. But I'll send the link in the live chat. And Ben, with a perfect question, says, but Mason, where can I draft on Underdog? That is a great question, my friend. You can draft on Underdog in these states. You can see the map right here. Thank you for the question. And that would have been a brutal thing if I missed out on saying. But sadly, we do not get Jalen Hurts, who was the guy that we were targeting. And the reason we took Devonta Smith there at pick 44 instead of Amari and Hampton. So instead, we'll keep it boring. We'll go with an older player. We will take Mr. Joe Mixon. And we'll keep it rolling. And yes, we are going to be doing the Flock League again. Hopefully the Flock League's much better this year than it was last year. Last year I had a ton of fun with it. Obviously, the main way that it could have been better is if the hero of the league, the star of the show, the best looking guy, the most charismatic guy, the smartest, the best fantasy football player, if all was right in the world, he would have won it last year. But sadly, his own editor bounced him out of the playoffs. Now, if the hero of the league is able to take it down this next season, it will be beautiful. Yeah, no more Pat Frymuth lateral fumbles this year. That's all we got to ask for. No more Pat Frymuth lateral fumbles. Yes, and I'm talking about Danny, by the way. I'm talking about Danny. Steven says, relegate Sal. Hey, Sal almost made the playoffs last year. He got close. But let me move this over. Dylan says, when are you going to tell us the big announcement? I'm going to be honest with you, my friend. I have no idea what the hell you're talking about. Well, let me know if there's what you're referring to with the big announcement. Let me move this down. Joe Burrow falling. We don't have any Bengals. Burrow doesn't have any rushing upside. So I'm not really looking to take Burrow here. I'm not really taking Debo without Daniels. We're going to take Jerry Jeudy instead. We'll go Jerry Jeudy at 68. Okay. Joe Burrow goes 70. Dylan says it's for the Flock League. Oh. The big announcement is Danny and I are getting married. That's what it is. The punishment for last place this year is you may or may not have to sleep in the rage cage with Danny. We'll see. Ken says, hey, Mason, does Saquon's stock go up now that the tush push is banned? So, a couple different things. One, I do not think the tush push is banned yet. Obviously, there was some news about this, but from what I could tell, it still seems like the tush push will be a thing this next season. We will just, I guess, double down on the Cleveland Browns offense, as exciting as that sounds, and we'll take Quinshon Judkins to pair up with Mr. Jerry Jeudy as our third running back. Great profile, garbage offense, not a ton of receiving upside, so I'm not going to sit here and stand for him. But let me look up the tush push and see what the exact... So Shefty says the Packers now have revised their proposal to ban the tush push at this week's league meeting in Minneapolis. Here's their revised proposal. Okay. Assisting the runner in interlocking interference, no offensive player may push, or let me freaking pull this up on the screen for y'all. Why the hell am I reading it off my phone? Acting like this is my first day ever live streaming. Okay. Let's pull this up. And if the tush push got banned, which I don't think it will, but if it did, okay, warning, warning, this is going to be very bright on your screen here. So no offensive player may push or pull a runner in any direction at any time or lift him to his feet. Use interlocking interference by grasping a teammate or by using his hands or arms to encircle the body of a teammate in an effort to block an opponent, or push his body against a teammate to aid him in an attempt to obstruct an opponent or to recover a loose ball, or assist the runner except by individually blocking opponents for him. So we'll take Hawkinson. The reason we need Hawk is we need another option at quarterback later. So if the tush push did get banned, which that's not the case so far. Shetty tweeted, Packers now revised their proposal to ban the tush push at this league's blah, blah, blah. Barkley would be the 101. Because let's go ahead and let's pull this up. This is really funny to look at. And obviously, this is free on flockfantasy.com for anybody who wants to check it out. Go over to flockfantasy.com. You can actually pull up the best ball rankings there. Again, my exact rankings will be behind a paywall. You can view those by hitting Add Mason Dodd. But regardless, let's pull up Barkley and let's pull up Jalen Hurts and let's compare them next to each other. So, okay, we got some picks until we're up. So looking at Saquon Barkley, we had 17 carries inside the 5-yard line. Looking at Jalen Hurts, he had 17 carries inside the 5-yard line and 14 rushing touchdowns. If you gave Barkley those 17 or half of these, those 8 or 9 carries inside the 5-yard line, Saquon Barkley gives you a CMC level historic season. That is what could be in line for him. We're going to take Fields. Fields, you can see massive spike weeks from. I haven't drafted much of them, and we have Garrett Wilson. So, yes, If the tush push got banned, Barkley would jump up to 1. Not only would Barkley jump up to 1, but Hurts would fall a decent amount for me as well. Because again, if you look at Jalen Hurts, I'm not going to cry about getting 630 rushing yards. Like, obviously, 630 rushing yards is great. But that's not what puts him near the same tier of Lamar Jackson. Like, Lamar Jackson's gotten to 1,200 rushing yards in a season. Like, you looking at this, Lamar's gotten to 80 rushing yards a game, 67 rushing yards a game. Pretty much every season he's played in full, the dude's averaging at least 50 rushing yards per contest. Where Jalen Hurts, on the other hand, his career high is 52. What makes Hurts close to Lamar in terms of their fantasy points per game, where over the past 4 seasons, Hurts has averaged at least 20 fantasy points per game every year, is the fact that he's close to averaging a rushing touchdown per game. So, definitely the tush push getting banned would have a big impact. It would move Barkley even higher, and it would move Jalen Hurts behind Joe Burrow in my rankings. Okay. But it's not... is there anywhere else I'm missing for somebody to say it's banned? I'm not seeing where it's banned. Vadim says, how am I going to get my tush pushed if it gets banned? Vadim, I got you, my friend. Just don't tell anybody. Okay. Jalen Warren, Etienne both go. Purdy, we don't really have as an option for us. Okay. Bateman goes 115. I don't want Mims. F it. I think we go tight end here between Evan Ingram, Loveland. I probably prefer Loveland, at least when it comes to a massive large field contest like this, where we are trying to optimize for points in week 15, 16, 17. I think you probably have a higher ceiling with Loveland for those final 3 weeks. You probably have a higher floor with Evan Ingram. So maybe in higher stakes contests, we go Ingram here. In the super large field contest, we go Loveland. Jamie says Mason gets his tush pushed by Bijan. Not if this gets banned. I'll tell you that much. Jimmy says the amount of targets in Chicago is crazy, though. 100%. I would agree with that. And that's why it's not an easy call for me. If you didn't have DJ Moore, Rome Odunze, and Luther Burden in Chicago, Loveland would be much, much higher in these drafts and my rankings. Dylan says, thoughts on the price of the Washington backfield? Obviously, they are very cheap, and it's a pretty damn good offense. But, I mean, you can go ahead and you can look at what Brian Robinson's done through his NFL career. Brian Robinson's best season ever, he was the running back 22 from a points per game perspective. Like, last year, Brian Robinson had no competition. Last year, the Commanders were pretty damn good, and he averaged 11.41 fantasy points per game. You look at his usable weeks, he had 0 weeks as a top 10 running back. So, I don't know. Am I going to sit here and like try to stan Brian Robinson? Probably not. I will say it's a good setup for him. Like, I think he's a completely fine price. I'm going to say it's the best thing ever. And it's not like Brian Robinson's a super young player either. He's 26 years old. He came into the NFL already as an older rookie back. We're going to take Dak Prescott here. Dak, super easy pick to pair up with CeeDee Lamb. Jimmy says, I don't understand the Scadaboo hype. I'm taking Tracy all day long. I have drafted a lot more Tracy over Scadaboo. What's actually funny is I sent this to Danny. If y'all watch the Flock League or y'all watch FSE, y'all probably get this. But for whatever reason, freaking the Scadaboo's all over my timeline. Like everything about this dude is just everywhere. It's like, hey, this is a 4th round rookie running back. Jamie says, thoughts on your Texas Longhorn Matthew Golden's outlook? I don't like it. I think it's a great situation. Very little competition when it comes to Green Bay. But if we go over and we look at the prospects page on the site and we actually sort this by wide receiver to get a sense of like the level prospect that Matthew Golden is from a fantasy perspective, he's right in line with guys like Juju, Sutton, Ruggs, Dotson, Anthony Miller, Laquan Treadwell, Sterling Shepard, Troy Franklin, Zay Flowers, Wan'Dale Robinson, Ayuk, Boyd. Here, sorry, real quick. We already have Hawkinson and Loveland, so we're going to be done drafting tight ends. No wide receivers are in the vicinity of guys that we can look to draft. So for me, might as well just take Tajay Spears. Pretty safe role there as the second running back. But anyway, if I'm looking at Matthew Golden, I don't love the prospect profile. Like one thing that you can do on the prospects page on the site, and it's crazy that I would ask you all this, but it would be nice if someone was here to confirm this for me. Let me know if the prospects page is free for y'all on the site. This may be behind a paywall. But anyway, if we go through and we look at career yards per route run, we look at career first downs per route run, and we look at draft capital. So let's look at all round 1 players. And let's sort them by first downs per route run. Ooh, let me swing this back around. Sorry. So we are not taking a tight end here. We are just running back versus wide receiver. Almost through the rest of this draft. Maybe you could talk me into a quarterback late, but we want to be able to go with the quarterback anytime soon. Or better yet, let's search this by career yards per route run. And y'all are fools. I don't know how many times I have to tell y'all. Y'all just don't learn. Y'all refuse to get better. Which, thankfully for me, thank you for letting me get the big Q. Thank you. Again, I know I say it 1,000 times over, but I can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink it. Y'all giving me Quentin Johnson, pick 149. Y'all just donated this draft. But we sort round 1 wide receivers for their career yards per route run since 2016. The bottom guys will get the worst round 1 wide receiver we've seen in quite some time. Then Matthew Golden. Brian Thomas, you kind of have to look in a different light because the dude played with Malik Neighbors. Ricky Pearsall, probably an overdrafted round 1 NFL pick. Jalen Reagor, probably an overdrafted round 1 NFL pick. DJ Moore, good. Jahan Dotson, probably a round 1 overdrafted guy. N'Keal Harry, overdrafted. Flowers, Worthy, Ruggs, Treadwell. And then you start to get some exciting prospects as you get further down this list. The guys that are near the top, right? But the production profile has been gross with Matthew Golden. And I know some people are going to say, well, Mason is just because his quarterback play was garbage. But you know what we can also do on the site is we can pull up his targets per route run. So was he getting targeted and just Quinn Ewers was a bum and he couldn't hit him on those targets? No, you look up his targets per route run. It's not great either. And again, when you're comparing him to those LSU wide receivers, they had an immense amount of target competition. Do we want Braylon Allen? Is Braylon Allen even guaranteed to be the RB2 in New York? We have Fields. We have Wilson. Maybe we say that we need to go in on this Jets offense. Okay. Jimmy says, Mason, you got to get a picture with the big Q at this point. What's actually funny is, you know what, saved to my desktop, I believe. Oh, please, for the love of God, tell me it's still here. Oh, you better believe it. I forgot. We need to start pulling this up. We need to start pulling this up a little more often. if I ever had this opportunity with the big Q, you better believe I'd take advantage. You love not only my rocking the Underdog shirt in this photo, but we're also rocking the Underdog hat. And you know what this guy told me? He went, Mason, I'm going to need you to put me on every buy low fantasy football video any week that I disappoint. They may make fun of you for the first half of 2024. They may call you clown. They may say you have no idea what the hell you're doing for months and months and months. Just eat it, my friend. Keep with it. Keep fighting the good fight, and I will eventually come through for you. And you know what I told him? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And he came through. We go ahead. We look at this. And all you need to see is week 6 onwards. Remember all these weeks when we were screaming to buy low and people were making fun of us? RB3, RB9, RB4, RB9, RB1, RB25, 2, 9, 15, 8, 3, 2. Total fantasy points, 341. Plays all 17 games, both as a rookie and a second-year player. RB3 this past season. My freaking guy. Now, let's move this around. If I get the opportunity to take that picture with the big Q, I will ask him for y'all. Hey, man, shoot me straight. Should I draft you in fantasy football this year? We'll see what he says, but I have a little feeling that answer is yes. Jimmy says pump's going crazy, Mason. Yeah. Sadly, if I were to retake this picture, I would not be able to show you off the arm veins the same way. Training for a 100-mile run doesn't exactly give you the ability to lift weights as much as you used to. So it is what it is. But at least we got that picture once. And yeah. This is also what I asked Bijan, because clearly I'm like 6'3", right? So Bijan's a couple inches taller than me. It's like, man, they have to have your height labeled wrong. I was like, how are you this tall? And he was like, yeah, the NFL doesn't really love tall running backs. Derrick Henry fell to round 2, so I had to pretend that I'm not 6'5". And I went, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Okay. Let's move this over. Yoshi Vosh, we're just going to take it 188. Let's go ahead and pull this dude up. What's actually funny is we got some spike weeks, but they were really only in games in which... Actually, never mind. The spike weeks weren't even that good. I thought the dude was a rookie last year. He was a rookie in 2023. Never mind. That pick's probably worse than I thought it would be. Okay. Lurker says, how are you glazing over the fact that Tracy is a fumble machine? Not ever coming out here and saying Tracy's some great running back. Do we have fumbles on the site? No, we don't. How many fumbles did Tracy have last year? Let's take Slayton, continue the trend with these Giants receivers, pairing up Slayton with Wan'Dale Robinson. And having a quarterback at 101 and a quarterback at 125, I think we could go dart in the last round if we really wanted. We have both Giants receivers. Tight end, we have Hawkinson and Loveland. We're chilling at tight end. Running back, we have Bucky, Mixon, Judkins, Spears, Braylon Allen. They were kind of fine at running back. Receiver, we have Lamb, Wilson, Devonta Smith, Jerry Jeudy, the Big Q, Wan'Dale, Yoshi Vosh, and Slayton. Dart may not be the worst pick here. If Dart goes, I'm not going to sit here and cry because I think we could get by with Fields and Dak. But we'll see. Bree says, if the Bengals rest their players for the playoffs, Yoshi Vosh is going to ball. Not if they rest Burrow. Daniel says, unsure if you answered my question. Sorry if I missed. Do you ever draft 10-man leagues? So, very, very rarely would we ever throw a 10-team league stream on the live stream. What we have on the site that we actually pushed out is flogfantasy.com, by the way. And right now it's only for the dynasty drafts, but we're going to add 2025 drafts once we get closer to the season for y'all. is where you can actually go and you can hop in 2025 fantasy football drafts, and we'll have 10-team leagues there, and maybe I'll do a 10-team mock for you. But we're going to take Jackson Dart, pair him up with Wandale, pair him up with Slayton. Do I think this is the best team we've ever drafted? No. Do I think it's pretty good? Yeah, I don't think it's bad at all. Again, I'll repeat what we've been saying as of late. But I think what's made our teams 10,000 times better. And F it. Let's get into Best Ball Mania draft. I'm sorry. I just feel like we've been crushing. I feel like we've been getting so damn good at drafting. Like, and I felt y'all remember, I felt like the exact opposite. I felt like we just had some god awful drafts when Best Ball Mania initially opened. And we're pick 11. We've been at pick 11 a ton this year. Freaking, it is what it is. And we're drafting right next to Kadarius Toney as well. 5 fumbles for Tracy last year. But I'm feeling good with our drafts. I think we've absolutely crushed it as of late. Thomas says your best pick by far was Mixon. I actually do end up not like I'm going to be a massive Mixon stan this year, but I have ended up with a decent amount of him so far. At least I think. Let me pull up my drafts. I need to, after the live stream today, I'm going to record I have 8% Mixon. I thought I had more. But I'm going to record like my most drafted players video. Loop says, sadly, you have to go against the winner, Mason. He is in here at 6. Braden is in this draft with us at 8. Braden, you literally just asked how Underdog drafts worked at the beginning of this live stream. Were you just setting me up for a little Underdog ad, or did you hop on Underdog within the last 30 minutes and immediately hop in a $25 one? I will say, if y'all are new to Underdog, I do not recommend what Braden just did here. I would instead be hopping in the $3 30-second drafts to at least get a little bit of a warm-up. I've done this for years and years and years. I've drafted over 1,000 teams, and even my first 10 drafts this year were garbage. We're going to take Neighbors here at pick 11. We'll see what let's see what Kadarius Toney does at the 1-2 turn. Because Brian Thomas at 12, CMC at 13. So we'll take London. And I'm a little bit worried the dog's crying. I think she may need to go outside. Oh. Miley girl, come here. Come here, girlie. Let me see how the dog is. But yeah, we got people in the chat now rooting for Braden here. Again, my recommendation, if you were new to Underdog, is I'd be hopping in the $3 30-second drafts to just get a little bit of practice. Zach says, Mason, I did a weekly winners draft today, and one guy drafted 16 players with a week 5 bye. Is that a legit strategy? 100%. Depends if you... So the thing with weekly winners, just to make sure we're all on the same page, like just make sure you know how it works, is every single week is a brand new slate. So the highest scoring team in the tournament in week 1 wins like 20,000, whatever the hell it is. And week 2, it's the same thing. Whoever scores the most points in week 2 wins like 20,000. And week 1 doesn't matter at all. So if you go through and if you say, hey, I'm going to stack all my players on the week 5 bye, I know I'm not going to win week 5, but hopefully I win one of these other weeks. That's completely fine. Come here. What are you doing? Come here. Are you okay? Are you okay? Come here, girlie. Come here, baby. Okay, I'm a little bit worried here. We may end up having to take the dog out. But yeah, with the weekly winners, it's a lot more like DFS in my mind, where it's very, very difficult for me to play it. Like, I've never had success. I didn't draft any weekly winners teams last year. I don't know if I'll draft any weekly winners teams this year. I've had a ridiculous amount of success in these regular underdog drafts. I think we've proven that over a very large sample. I think over a large sample, it'd be very difficult to find someone that's had as much success as we have. So I'm sticking with my bread and butter. I'm doing a lot of these drafts, weekly winners. I'm kind of staying in my own lane and have not entered into that arena. Okay. Alex says, am I tripping or have you been the number 11 pick super often in the past few streams? Last night we were pick 12 and then pick 11 and pick 11. Okay. Let me... Okay, let's see what happens. Chase Brown makes it down to 31. Love that team at 7, starting Puka, Ladd, and Chase Brown. Come here, girlie. Are you okay? Are you okay? Can you wait a little bit and then I'll take you outside? Okay, we are on the clock. We're going to go Kyron here, easy. No, we got the case for the week 17 correlation. I'm not as concerned with that as I think Kyron has a ton of upside for weeks 15, 16, 17. I think we have a lot of flexibility because we go wide receiver with this start. So let's take Neighbors London, and then we'll get Breece Hall here at 38. And that's another thing, right? When we're looking at Allen Lamar there at the 3-4 turn, I'm kind of fine with either guy. And we know Kadarius Toney there at 12 is not going to take both of them. So we can let him take Allen, and we just get Lamar on the way back. Hey, your friend may come home and take you outside right now, okay? I know, girlie. Okay, Judd says if her nose feels warm, she really needs to go. Well, I just texted the girlfriend. The girlfriend's on the way home to take her. Her nose feels ice cold, but I know she needs to go. I know, baby. Okay. Loop says, Mason, have you gotten any Chase Marv McBride teams yet? I don't know. Obviously, I know a lot of people like going for that week 17 game. If the Bengals defense is like it was last year, it should be super high scoring. Okay, Sutton goes pick 44. Daniel says, all the way from Australia is Underdog coming to Australia. So, obviously, I have no say and very, very little information. I have the same amount of information y'all do, to be exact. Like, y'all remember when Underdog got to New York, I learned, the way I learned about it is y'all told me in the live stream. Underdog, I'd imagine, is trying to get everywhere they can ASAP. But if I was a guessing man, I would say probably the Kangaroos aren't getting Underdog anytime soon. Brandon says, Mason, there's a bug on the trade calculator on the Flock website. For example, Ridley for a 2026 late second and Ollie Gordon. I'll look at that, my friend. Naeem says, how big would Best Ball Mania be if the other countries were involved? So I don't know if Underdog is trying to... This is one thing that I know Underdog told me last year. Obviously, Underdog could make Best Ball Mania way bigger. But what they told me, like, I think last year, and Underdog's the same size this year. I think this is the third straight year it's been a $15 million prize pool. Is that they would just rather keep Best Ball Mania the same size because it is already the largest fantasy football tournament on the planet and offer way more tournaments on top of it. And we will take Kenneth Walker as our second running back here. We do get a decent amount of Walker at the 5-6 turn, but that's just where he goes. We're not taking Burrow, of course. Do we really mix it up What are the odds we get wide receivers making it to us on the way back around? Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take Kamara and we're going to send up a freaking prayer that we can get some wide receivers soon. If we don't have any wide receivers available to us at 83 and 86, this could be a complete disaster. But if we have the wide receiver help that we need at 83, we'll see. We got the Ladster out here. The Ladster, I showed him earlier how Cam Scattaboo is just like you. Like, I saw this picture and I went, this dude is Danny. And again, I immediately messaged Danny and Bush and I said, Danny better draft 50% of Scattaboo at the very minimum. The very minimum this year. Jamie says, what's a good site for Dynasty football? If you're going to join a Dynasty League, really your only options are going to be like MFL, which is myfantasyleague.com, and Sleeper. MFL is an outdated site and it costs money in comparison to Sleeper's free. And Lazar says, great beard taste. And Kadarius Toney says, why does Scott's beard look like it was drawn on? Scott says we should be able to get Mooney. Yeah, worst case scenario, we're looking at like Mooney and Cup. We're going to do the Flock League draft like April 18th around there. I'm sorry, August 18th around there. Teague says, Mason, will you end up with a larger share of Tyler Shuck or Derrick Henry? Tyler Shuck. So let's see. This is a best ball draft. This is not a redraft. Golden goes 74. Ricky Pearsall goes 75. So looking at the board, ladies and gentlemen, it may look like we are boxed out a wide receiver. We'll see what happens, but things are not trending in our favor. Desire Best, his thoughts on the Scat price tag and ADP. Scattaboo has the size to handle all three downs, and at the same time, he was a great receiving back in college. So that alone makes him a very interesting prospect. Between him and Tracy, when Tracy's been cheaper, I've actually drafted more Tracy. But, oh dear God, what are y'all doing to me here? Okay. This is going to be a hyper-fragile team. We'll take Caleb Johnson, and then we may not draft another running back through the rest of this. The Latzer says, promise me you don't take Cup. I can't make that promise, my friend. I can't make that promise. Pacheco goes 84. Let's see if Kadarius Toney takes Baker with Evans and Godwin. Oh, thank God he didn't take a receiver. We will take Cooper Kupp. Latzer didn't want us to do it. Josh asking why. The Ladster hates his old players, which I'm not going to fault him for. But sadly, when we go 0 wide receivers rounds 3 through 7, I put myself in one of the biggest holes you could ever imagine, where I simply have no other option but to take a wide receiver in round 8. Okay. Pittman goes 90. Brian Robinson, 91. Okay, checking right now. The girlfriend's on her way home. Thank God, because the dog needs to go outside. Vadim says, when does the expert in the title arrive? He got here about 30 seconds ago. Did you not see him? You can see him on the screen right now. Yeah, if you look at Cooper Kupp, there are some encouraging things. Now, obviously, I'm never drafting Cooper Kupp here, expecting him to go to Seattle, and all of a sudden, oh, he's freed. Instead of having Matthew Stafford, he gets Sam Darnold. Oh, he doesn't have to deal with Sean McVay anymore. Obviously, we're expecting him to go downhill. But if we are looking at Kupp every single year of his NFL career, he has been a top 24 wide receiver from a per game perspective. Every single season. If you look at the target share and you look at the yards per route run, 2020 and the fantasy points per game, 2023 and 2024 were not any different. Now, of course, they weren't anything close to 2022 and 2021, where there we are at a target share of over 30%, where there we are at yards per route run mark of about 3 on average between the 2 years. Now, a concern, of course, is the Rams are completely fine moving on from Cooper Kupp. And the other concern is going to be that Cooper Kupp is about to turn 32 years old. He was drafted in 2017, the same year as like a Christian McCaffrey or Joe Mixon, who's much younger, right? But the issue is he was a very old player when he was drafted. And oh my gosh, look at what we are dealing with. Look at the wide receivers that are available. Japrime says, dang, no YouTube notification today. Shame. Well, make sure you hit the bell next to the subscribe button if you have not already for that YouTube notification. It's okay, I know. Elliot's coming. Elliot's coming. She's coming, I promise you. Oh, crap. Before we get autoed, are you freaking kidding me? Andrews is gone. Okay, well, we need a wide receiver desperately. Andrews is gone, so we need the Lamar stack. So we're going to reach dramatically on Bateman here. I mean, Andrews was somebody I was pretty much locking in for this pick at 107. But, oh my gosh. That is brutal. I'm not taking Marvin Mims here. That's the next best wide receiver. I'm not doing it. We could go Fields, call it a day at quarterback, and just chase the rushing upside. We can go Scatterboon, call it a day at running back, which is probably what we'll do. We talked about him enough. We have his cousin in this live stream with us. Again, bad offense, bad schedule, not the best draft capital, but he handled the 3-down workload in college. He's a great receiving back as well. So, yes, that was disgusting. And the main thing that we should have done is we should have just taken any other player other than Alvin Kamara. The pick that ruined our draft was Kamara. Now, on a positive note, you look at Kadarius Toney's team at 12. This is one pride. He has a phenomenal squad. Brian Thomas, Evans, Olave, Godwin at wide receiver. He has Baker double stacked with Evans and Godwin. Running back, he has CMC, Pacheco, Aaron Jones, and he has Josh Allen, Baker Mayfield at quarterback with Evan Ingram at tight end. Braden says, Mason, if you think your wide receivers are bad, look at mine at 8. Oh, okay, what are we going on here? JSN, Addison, Shakir, Keon. So we have the Buffalo guys with no Allen. Yeah, I guess maybe my receivers are better than yours, but you have Brock Bowers. We have an unstacked Burrow with this squad. And then we have Hawkinson. So yeah, you and me, my friend, are both chasing wide receiver points. And yes, Jerry Jeudy would have saved us. Drew says, hold up, I need an actual explanation for this. Kamara was insane last year when everyone doubted him. Henry also showed he is an older back. Why not trust these guys to perform again? So again, you look at the historical data, and we can look back and we can say, oh, this older running back succeeded. This older running back succeeded. And you ignore the fact that, yeah, Eckler's turned into dust. Leonard Fournette's turned into a dust. Dalvin Cook's turned into dust. Ezekiel Elliott's turned into dust. All these other running backs, Nick Chubb's turned into dust. All these other running backs that were drafted in 2016, 2017, 2018, every single year we are getting one or two of them falling off to irrelevancy. So just by the nature of numbers, if we had a group of like 10 running backs out of that 3-year span that were elite, you get one or two falling off every single season. There maybe will be one or two guys left standing. So, yes. And I drafted Kamara here, right? I'm not going to sit here and talk crap on Kamara too much when I'm the one who took him. But I will also point out that it is difficult to say like this running back still made it, so they're all going to be fine now. And we're cooked. We are cooked beyond belief. We cannot take a running back. We are just quarterback, wide receiver, tight end. May, we have no stacks. Lawrence, we have no stacks. McCarthy, we have no stacks. I guess we'll take Kincaid. We'll snipe him away from Kadarius Toney. My friend, I am sorry about that, but it kind of has to be done here. And then I'm not going to be reaching on like the Jalen McMillans down here. Okay. Let's see what else Kadarius Toney does. He goes Goddard. Do I just end up taking Ferguson? Actually, F that. We're going to go likely. We have Lamar. We'll go Kincaid likely. And dear God. And we'll pray to God that we have some wide receivers making it back. Frank says we have mic static. Yeah, let me know if anybody else is hearing anything bad with the mic. Thomas says, Flock's team is really good. Sucks he didn't get Andrews. Kamara wasn't a bad pick, in my opinion. The issue is just we're so far behind at wide receiver. Like running back, obviously, we're phenomenal. We have Kyron, Walker, Kamara, Caleb Johnson, Cam Scatterby. We're great. Quarterback, we're in a pretty good spot. We have Lamar. But wide receiver, we're sitting with Malik Neighbors, London, Cooper Kupp, Rashad Bateman, and that's it. So, like, I agree. I'm not sitting here saying Kamara in round 6 a bad pick. But what I am saying is I'm saying that we needed a wide receiver so bad where there's some pretty damn strong running back values that we could have gotten later. So that's why I don't love the Kamara pick here. And again, also a thing with Kamara is we can just pull up on the site real quick and see where Kamara's value ultimately comes from. A lot of the value from Kamara is coming based off his receiving involvement. Or, I mean, you can just go through and see that this is a running back that over the past 2 years, he's averaging over 5 receptions a game. He had a 21.5% team target share this past season. But Underdog's a half PPR format. Underdog's not full PPR. The Laster says, ma'am, I'm pumped for our next BBM stream. I'm feeding for another draft. My guy, we just got to get you in Austin. We got to get you and Bushy Boy down to the Lone Star State so we can be drafted nonstop. That's what needs to happen. But sucks that I have to draft with y'all. Loop ends up taking the big Q from us. Obviously, in a regular draft, we'd be hoping that we got the big Q at 155. Romeo Dobbs goes off 151. So we do have the potential stack here for Michael Penix to pair up with London. And it looks like nobody else in this range has like Kyle Pitts. So actually, do they have Darnell Mooney? Mooney would be the other guy we need to worry about. This team has Mooney, but he also has Stroud and Lawrence. So I don't know if he's going to be taking Penix here. He goes Jalen Knowles. So we are going to probably make Kadarius Toney a little bit mad, and we are going to take Jalen McMillan. But the thing is, he has Josh Allen and Baker Mayfield, so he can't take another quarterback. So we almost guarantee ourselves to get Michael Penix at 158. We know he will take Jalen McMillan because he has Baker Mayfield. We just need wide receiver bodies in here, even if I think McMillan's one of the worst draft picks in underdog drafts at the moment. So we'll take McMillan. We'll guarantee ourselves we get Michael Penix to pair up with London. And we will just continue to draft bum wide receivers over the next few rounds. Okay, thank God the girlfriend got here to take out the dog. Whew, that was stressing me out. I thought we were going to top off this. But wide receiver, we are now sitting with Neighbors, London, Cup, Bateman, McMillan. Running back, we have Kyron, Walker, Kamara, Caleb Johnson, Cam Scadaboo. Quarterback, we have Lamar, double stacked with Bateman and Likely. We have Michael Penix stacked up with Drake London. And yeah, of course, if y'all want another draft, make sure you go down there, hit that like button. If we hit 250 likes on this stream, we'll get a third draft going. So Vinny says we're only at 131. I haven't checked in, but if we hit 250, we'll fire up a third draft. Dylan says thoughts on Kyle Pitts' price. I'm fine with it. Obviously, it's the cheapest he's ever been, but I do at least want to acknowledge that he should be the cheapest he's ever been. Like, you're looking at this past year, the 7.72 fantasy points per game. Like, he has declined with his targets per game every single season of his career. From 6.5 down to 5.9, down to 5.3, down to 4.4. Now, the production numbers have stayed about the same over the past 3 seasons. Obviously, they've all been down since his 2021 year. Now, with that in mind, we do, of course, have to address his age and say that, yes, he's been an absolute bum, but maybe, just maybe, we can excuse it. Like, he's the same age as RJ Harvey, a rookie in this year's class. Kadarius Toney says he is upset with the Kincaid snipe. I'm sorry, my friend. Kadarius Toney says, not with how top heavy my wide receiver room is, I don't want 3 from one team. So he was fine with us sniping on McMillan, just not the Kincaid. Dylan says, Pitts had Penix. He'll have his best year. But we also heard the same thing about Cousins last year, right? So I think rightfully, people kind of do have the Kyle Pitts fatigue. So we are just wide receiver tight end through the rest of this draft. I think you can make an argument we don't take another tight end having Kincaid and Likely, even if they have the same bye. For me, I probably take a third, depending on how the rest of this draft goes. As again, we at least have the anchor wide receivers holding down the fort at the very top with Neighbors, London, right? And then based off our running back room, I think we have a lot of usable running back weeks in the flex. So when we're looking at our running backs near the bottom here, we are just trying to chase spike weeks for that third spot. Okay. Diego says, do they start up new tournaments once the current ones fill? For example, the Schnauzers almost feel full. Let's take Darius Slayton here, probably. Slayton, I'm pretty damn confident is going to be on the field. We have Malik Neighbors, so maybe we make a bet that, the Giants' passing offense isn't as bad as people are expecting. So we're just taking shots on wide receivers that can have random spike weeks. So, Diego, the answer to that is Underdog is a bunch of different tournaments, and they drop them periodically through the entire offseason. So, like, right now you can pull up their tournament offerings, and we can go through these one by one, and I can give you, like, if you're new to Underdog, I can give you a sense of, like, what's going to be around all offseason, what's going to come and go. So typically when they launch these tournaments here, the marathon, the sprints, the big dog, these tournaments are pretty much going to take all offseason to fill. Best Ball Mania is probably going to take all offseason to fill. The Eliminator is probably going to take all offseason to fill. That's like, these are like the big 4 tournaments. I mean, big 5 tournaments with different structures for each, right? Then the tournaments and then weekly winners is probably going to take all off season to fill. The tournaments that fill quickly, like the Schnauzer and the Puppy, these get cycled through and we kind of see different versions of this regularly. Like they have another $3 one that's called like the Pomeranian, where it's like a $3 draft and there's 0 rake on it as well. Naeem says there'll be a Schnauzer too soon. Hopefully, we'll see. But let's see. For us, as many of these running backs off the board as possible is the best thing we could get. And we do not have the luxury to mess around with a third quarterback the way that we did in the last draft. We simply just have to keep slamming wide receivers. Naeem clarifies, I don't work for Underdog, but that's how it usually is. Okay, so making it seem real quick that we were real confident with that at the beginning. Loop says we need a hype team. Okay, so here you can look at Loop's team at 6, right? You can say, oh, maybe the Devonta Smith, Jalen Hurts stack is awesome. Maybe pairing up Lamb and Achane, which is exactly what I want to do in the last draft, looks great. Like, you can hype up those individual things. The only thing I need to see with this team is pick 150 when he won the draft. This is the pick that won him the draft. So congrats for that, my friend. I'm jealous of you. That's what lost me the draft, you sniping us there. But Taj Brooks off. We'll take Jalen Coker. I haven't drafted much of him, but it is what it is. We're just taking shots at these random wide receivers, hoping somebody does something. And then we have Neighbors, London, Cup, Bateman, McMillan, Douglas, Slayton, Coker. Kincaid likely is probably not enough at tight end. I think we need a third tight end. We'll take Chig. I like Ferguson, but the thing is, this team, we have Kincaid likely. Don't know if Ferguson, both on bye in week 7. I don't know what Ferguson looks like in week 7. But let me pull up on my phone to see how many likes we're at. Like I said, if we hit 250 likes in the stream, we'll be getting a third draft going. But real quick, wide receiver. We're walking away with this draft with Malik Neighbors, Drake London, Cooper Kupp, Rashad Bateman, Jalen McMillan, Demario Douglas, Darius Slayton, Jalen Coker. Running back, we have Kyron, Kenneth Walker, Alvin Kamara, Caleb Johnson, and Cam Scadaboo. Tight end, we have Kincaid, Likely, and Chig. Quarterback, we have Penix stacked up with London. And we have Lamar double stacked with Bateman and Likely. But let me see what we are at likes-wise in the stream. Because I may need to go kind of help my girlfriend with the dog, because it seems like the dog may be sick at the moment. Okay, I just hit the like button. We're about 25 likes away, so maybe this is going to be only a 2-draft stream. But anyway, thank you so much, of course, for everybody hanging out with me. Let me go help my girlfriend with the dog. I will be live tomorrow night, of course. And yeah, if you wanted to hop in these drafts with us on Underdog Fantasy, I've said it 1,000 times. You already know it. You can find the link to Underdog Fantasy in the description, in the comment section. If you use promo code FLOCK, you will get a 50% deposit bonus up to $1,000. Plus, you will get my free 2025 Fantasy Football Draft Guide cheat sheet and rankings. And Underdog is available in damn near every state. You can see the map right here, ladies and gentlemen. But thank you again. I really do appreciate you. I really hope I get to see you out with the live stream tomorrow night. And I really hope the dog is okay. Let me go figure